Hi, the concept we're introducing today is called UID, Uniform Information Density. What is information density? It's the amount of information we convey in each unit of time during our speech. If the information density of the content is very high, it means that it's very surprising for the audience and they might be overwhelmed. However, if the information density is very low, then it means that the content is very predictable and the audience might be bored. If the information density goes up and down drastically during our speech, it's like throwing our audience onto an information roller coaster. It's not comfortable. What is better than a roller coaster? A smooth road, and this is why the concept is named uniform information density. It predicts that as rational speakers, when we organize our speeches, we would distribute information evenly throughout the utterance. So no information peaks and dips, no information roller coasters. Now let's walk through an example. The girl told the story survived. The girl told the story survived. The sentence is a bit hard to understand at first, right? We can use UID to explain why and propose a fix. Let's look at the sentence again. The girl told the story survived. You were probably not expecting the word survived because the girl told the story is already a complete sentence. So the word survived was very surprising to us, meaning it contains a lot of information. And why is that? Because it has two roles. First, it's the verb of the sentence. And second, it is the cue word that made us realize whatever goes before it was not a complete sentence, but a long noun phrase, which serves as the subject of the sentence. Both roles contain some information, and combining them creates a potential information peak, making the word difficult to process. So how to fix it? UID predicts that in complicated sentences like this, we're more likely to give one role to some other words earlier in the sentence. So instead of saying the girl told the story survived, we can say the girl who was told the story survived. Now the who was is the cue word that tells us, hey, you're listening to a long noun phrase right now, but this is only a subject and you should be expecting a verb later. Now when we hear the word survived, it's less surprising. Okay, this example showed us that sometimes the way we form a sentence can create information peaks, and those peaks can be smoothed out by adding redundant cues to structure. With who was, we provide an additional cue to the structure of the subject so that the information doesn't need to come from the main verb alone. But what if the information peak does not come from surprise about the sentence structure, but rather surprise about the meaning of a certain word? Let's bring our example back, but this time we'll extend it for a little bit. The girl who was told the story survived the something. What can this something be? A car accident? A typhoon? Or maybe a midterm exam? These are all reasonable guesses, so maybe not too surprising. Okay, what if I tell you that she survived the rhino? This is probably much harder to guess given the previous part of the sentence, so potentially there is another information peak here, and this has nothing to do with the structure of the sentence. So now, what changes can be made to iron out this information peak? Well, UID says that information density is the amount of information per unit of time. Here, the amount of information we need to convey is fixed. So to adjust the information density, what we need to manipulate is time. This is where we start. Now let's try to stretch out the time so the same amount of information gets spread out in a longer period. Now what happened to our information density? It decreased, and that's what we want. All right, let's try this in our example. Which word can we use to express the same meaning as rhino, but with longer time? Rhinoceros. It has more syllables, takes longer time to utter, and therefore helps us smooth out the potential information peak. This smoothing out effect may not appear to be as obvious as in the previous example, but people do use this strategy in their speeches, and this has been observed in a good amount of research studies. All right, so far we have seen two examples demonstrating how UID deals with surprises arising from different aspects of our speeches. But surprises may come from somewhere else. Plus, these are just the information peaks, and don't forget that we also want to get rid of information dips, so there's so much more to explore. I hope that this video got you interested in the topic of uniform information density, and thank you for taking this ride.